What's up, folks? This one was one of my wife's suggestions. Palmer on Apple TV, starring Justin Timberlake. We're going to take a look at it on this episode of The Monitors. Palmer is currently on Apple TV and is directed by Fisher Stevens, written by Cheryl Guerrero, and stars pop icon Justin Timberlake in the title role. Eddie Palmer, or just Palmer as he prefers, is fresh out of prison on early release for good behavior, after serving 12 years for nearly beating a man to death. He was once a promising student athlete, but was injured and fell on hard times. Upon his release, he is forced to take up quarters in his grandmother's house as he tries to get back on his feet. He takes a job at the local elementary school as a custodian's assistant. Palmer's grandmother also looks after a young boy named Sam, who is the son of a strung-out drug addict, who Palmer coincidentally has a quick hookup with fresh out of the clink. Sam is a little different, as he likes princesses and plays with dolls and will occasionally wear makeup. Needless to say, Palmer is not quite sure what to make of him and is a bit put off by him. But Sam is a straight shooter, and with a pure childlike honesty, Palmer is able to look past the things about Sam that are strange to him and quickly sees the innocent but spirited young boy. When Palmer's grandmother passes in her sleep, and after he realizes that the only alternative for Sam would be to go into the system, Palmer reluctantly decides to continue to look after Sam as his grandmother did until his mother returns from whatever long bender she's on. And that is the setup for the film. This film works for a few reasons. One is undoubtedly Timberlake. Ever since I first saw him on an SNL sketch, not necessarily that one, I saw that he had some legitimate comic chops, and I saw later that he had real acting talent. That said, if you were casting Palmer just from the page, Justin Timberlake might be one of the last names that comes to mind. But having seen him in the role, I can't imagine anyone else. His performance of Palmer is grounded and believable and vulnerable. You definitely believe he is every bit the ex-con that we see, but Timberlake sells you on this hardened man who is struggling to put his life back together, opening his heart to this strange little boy who needs him as much as it turns out that Palmer needs him back. The film doesn't work without Timberlake's performance being completely solid, and it is. Of course, the other performance that makes the film is young Ryder Allen as Sam. Sam is a princess, pure and simple, and unapologetically so. Yet there is a strength to this kid. He's learned to survive and has a better outlook on life than perhaps most kids would, being raised by a single parent who is mostly an absentee drug addict. Ryder Allen finds that strength and honesty in Sam. Together, Timberlake and Allen have such strong chemistry that it becomes clear that on screen, despite how different these two characters are, they clearly belong together. Supporting performances of note are Alicia Wainwright as Maggie, Sam's teacher, and Palmer's eventual companion and moral support. Juno Tempo is also very good as Sam's tragic mom, Shelley, and June Squibb is entertaining and solid as Palmer's grandmother, Vivian. I also very much like Fisher Stevens' direction. He picks his moments very smartly. The pacing keeps moving, though the film never feels rushed. Stevens seems to know when a point has been made. My take on Palmer is that it's a good film if you need a pickup. As my wife said when we finished it, it is not what you'd call a feel-good film, but I think you might feel good when you watch it. Another episode in the books. Have you checked out Palmer yet? What are your thoughts? Would definitely like to know. Always asking that you leave your comments below so we can talk about it. Also, click that like button to help us out if you would, and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified about new content. That's going to do it for today. We'll catch you next time. Meanwhile, you folks be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Peace, and we're out. God bless.